Greetings shippers and welcome back to another episode of Fic Rec Friday, the series where we go through a bunch of recs, some recced by me and others by you. This week we have an eclectic bunch and it's been a very tropey week for me. I was sick for most of this week, so it meant diving straight back into the tropiest of tropes. Because we're going to be talking about fanfiction, we of course have to do our disclaimer. You can expect to see a wide variety of fics on this series, from dark to overplayed tropes, rival pairings, just pretty much anything you can think of, from fandoms that span all across the internet and various mediums. So must be reminded that this is not a bashing space. If a fic doesn't sound like it will be for you, well hopefully one of the other recs will, or one of the many recs that people leave down below. There's no need to seek out reader, writer, wrecker for harassment. Different strokes for different folks. This is all about sharing all the different aspects of fandom that are out there, and not all of fandom is for everyone, which is 100% fine, but we can of course discuss it respectfully. Quick, lickety split. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please do follow on social media to stay up to date, know when we're streaming, and just come on over and chit chat about fandom. It's a good time, I swear. Also, I have to chat with you about something at the end of the video, so stick around till the end if you have the time. Now, let's get to the recs. Our first rec is gonna take us to the Disney fandom, to a dark pairing in a quasi-dark fic. I recently did a video on Disney Femslash, so if you missed that, you know the drill, click the card or the link will be down below. In it, we discussed how there can be a myriad of Disney pairings that go outside of the confines of what is presented within the source text. And you can really use these Disney films as a platform to explore a whole bunch of different concepts, and that includes the dark fic. This is a Jafar and Jasmine pairing, a complete AU where Aladdin doesn't even enter the picture. This fic is called My Poison, My Salvation by After Andalasia. One chapter, word count 1,337. This is a fic wherein Jasmine marries Jafar and leverages his newfound position to cement her own. It's about the love-hate relationship that the two develop, vacillating between moments when she loves him and moments when she absolutely hates him, and ultimately culminating in the reason why she loves him at all. It's a very dark, introspective piece about the choices that people make and how they learn to live with them. It's one of the more intriguing Jafar and Jasmine fics out there. A lot of those fics go straight to kink territory or straight into even darker fare than this, both of which are intriguing, but this is a fascinating one, particularly as it is told from Jasmine's perspective, and a perspective where she still retains full agency. So if you were ever curious about how a pairing like this could actually work, for this isn't a romanticization, this is very much an experiment in what it could have potentially looked like, which is not the most pleasant, but very, very intriguing. So if you like your Disney fare a little darker, then this may be a fic for you. Also, if you just want to think about Jasmine and her harem outfit, which I know is a thing, we're going from dark to Jen and a Team as Family fic. Team as Family is a dynamic that, while not always the most popular, consistently works its way through most team-based fiction, or just a group where it's become a family of choice. We're gonna take a look at the Guardians of the Galaxy fandom, where Gen fics abound. There are of course pairing fics, but there is a lot of Gen and Team as Family fics. So if that's something you're really into, this is a fandom to potentially check out. We've actually also done a video on that. Again, you know the drill. Card, link. This fic is called Reassurance by Megan Moonlight. It is one chapter, word count 4,400. This is a 5 times fic, but one of those ones where it's actually a 4 times fic. As the trope evolved, there was variance in it, wherein some stuck to the original 5+1, where it was 5 occurrences then an extra one, but some do 4+1. Either way, you're dealing with the same sort of fic. An occurrence that occurs one way a specific amount of times, and then differently the last time. This one has to do with Groot. This is 4 times Groot comforted members of the Guardians, and 1 time they comforted him. It is fluff, 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 and sweet. It's exactly what it says on the tin. Groot coming across different teammates at different points, and having to comfort them. And finally, one moment where they're all there for him. If you just want some little snippets of Guardian's life, this is very much a fic to check out. There's a lot of love for Groot in the Guardians fandom and just in general, but there's a lot of fleshing out of Groot in transformative fiction, which I appreciate. Love for a nuanced Groot. Next, we're sticking in the Marvel Universe and the MCU, just for a little bit. This fic is gonna take us over to one of my personal favorite eras to explore in the Thor fandom, and that is the pre-Thor. That world where we very much just live in the mesh of the Marvel Universe and Norse mythology. This fic is called Lay With Me Here by Arain. 1 chapter, word count 4,976. This is a Warfrost fic, or a Sifki, a Loki and Sif fic, which really abounded after the first film, had a brief resurgence after the second, and has very much reached an even keel of those who ship it, and those who don't, well, many don't know about it. However, with the rumored Disney Marvel shows on the horizon at the time of this recording, that may change, and this fandom and pairing may have yet another resurgence. This fic deals with a very common concept when working with this couple. What were their adventures like before? And also playing with the idea that the two had a special bond in the group, both being outsiders, Sif as a woman and Loki as a sorcerer, and that in a way it could have potentially drawn them together. This deals with the two out in an adventure when all of a sudden Sif gets very, very injured, and Loki has to use his magic to save her. But as anybody who hangs out in any kind of fandom circle knows, magic comes with a price. Now the two are trapped in the countryside and they must recover together, which means that you're dealing with one of the classic tropes, which is separated and alone together, which can also lead to a bunch of sub-tropes such as sharing body heat or alone together in a cave. Alone together in a cave is underrated. This fic deals with the two getting to know each other even better and exploring and navigating their feelings and trying to figure out just exactly how this can work when they get back, given the expectations that have been placed upon both of them. If you like the idea of this pairing but have a hard time seeing how it would fit into the actual canon, fics like this are a great place to start, that remove them from anything that happens in the MCU verse later on screen, but also they're still in character so you can get a sense of what it might feel like. It's an intriguing one to check out, and one for hurt comfort lovers and just trope lovers in general. For fic 4, we're going to a classic fandom, the fandom that ultimately coined the term shipping. That's right, we're talking about the X-Files. We're going to take a look at a fic that was written all the way back in 1997 and actually won an award at the time. Yes, there are fandom writing awards. They're self-contained and people do them within fandom. They're a lot of fun. And let me tell you, this fic deserved it. This is a very well-written fic. It's just... let me even try to explain it. This fic is called Wheels of Iscariot by X Magical, aka X Parrot. It is 1 chapter, word count 16,260, and it specifically has an episode tag that is AU post Jasmine. That is episode 24 of season 4. However, the entire thing is an AU, and it's an Alex Krycek and Dana Scully fic, but that's the least important part of it. Let me try and set this up. This deals with a world where Scully is much more than she appears. A double agent? A triple agent? What is she? Who does she work for? All that we know is that she's recruited before the series even begins by Alex Krycek, who has nefarious masters all his own. And her mission is Mulder. So this deals with a world where the entire time, all throughout the X-Files series, Scully has been working for someone, reporting on Mulder, using him as a pawn, slowly manipulating him, twisting him, making sure he finds the conclusions he's supposed to for whatever nefarious reasons her masters have. But is she really being controlled by them? Throughout all of this, she strikes up a relationship with Krycek, the one person who she lets close enough to see who she kind of really is, but even with him, she never lets her mask down fully. It's a really amazing Scully fic. It's so dark, but a concept that really works, and everybody is so in character, and it still plays with everything that happens in canon, and it makes you believe that, wow, this would be really interesting, and there's that potential. And it also deals with her developing relationship with Mulder, moving into something that's actually really close to a real friendship, but her never forgetting her mission. It is 100% worth the read. This is one of those ones that you feel like it could be a tie-in novel. It's just that good. The quality of the writing is stellar. So if you want to check out a classic fic in the fandom, also a rare pair and something that people were really buzzing about back in the day, check this one out. It's really good. And now we're about to come full circle back to Disney, but this time a fun one. Lighthearted, hooray. Also, I'm probably gonna rant in a minute, so be forewarned, for forewarned is forearmed. We're going back to the Frozen fandom. I can't stay away. It's all the fan rec from last week's fault. I lived there pretty much all week. This fic is called Wanted by Snoober. 1 chapter, word count 2,742. It is also an AU. This is an AU where the events of the Frozen film didn't happen. Didn't happen. Strike it from the record. Nothing there. Hans never went to the coronation at all. He couldn't because his brothers wouldn't let him. So now he's at his palace, and all of a sudden a new princess comes to visit. Because in this verse, Elsa gets crowned, but she never deals with her issues surrounding her powers, meaning that Anna now has to go out and be diplomatic liaison because Elsa can't do it. So she finds herself in Hans's kingdom and completely drawn to Hans. This is from Hans's perspective and very much dives into the idea of him feeling completely overshadowed and worthless because of his brothers, and being completely stunned by the idea that someone wants to spend time with him. Basically, it's a reversal where Anna comes to his kingdom and absolutely falls for him and pursues him. It's lighthearted, it's cute, and it fixes your broken heart if you were someone who is actually shipping these two and wanted to see it work out. Love is an open door, or an AU fanfics. Now, Hans and Anna. Let me take a brief moment to rant. There is a way, in my opinion, that you could completely fix this pairing within the film, not sacrifice the message that they're working for, and it would only take the change of two slight things. Let me tell you. At the very end of the film, during Hans's betrayal, one only has to change one thing during that sequence. Let Hans kiss Anna, but nothing happens. That way, you get to keep the message that it's not the best idea to completely fall head over heels for the first guy you meet, but also, he doesn't have to be evil. It can simply be a case of, we don't know each other well enough, and we were rushing into something. And you can still keep all of the crux of the climax. Instead of having evil Hans who locks up Elsa, you can have her powers completely going out of control in a panic because Anna's not getting better. She's dying, and she doesn't know what to do. That way, you can still have the sisterly bond be the true love that helps Elsa recover. But you don't have to throw Hans under the bus to do it, or the concept of love at first sight. And you can still subvert that trope. Also, that way, at the end of the film, neither female protagonist needs to end up with anybody. Because ultimately, even if Anna doesn't end up with Hans, but she ends up with Kristoff, she still threw herself at the second guy she met. So the message very much becomes,
don't believe in love at first sight. Don't fall for the first man you meet.
But the second man, though, I mean, that's completely different. In my opinion, it just left much more open narratively and makes it a more mature story and conveys the exact same thing without ultimately what I believe is a weak villain. Now, a lot of people love the face heel turn, and that is completely fine. Different strokes for different folks. I just feel that ultimately, as a movie, it would have been stronger. I'm not even asking for them to be together. It just would have had so much more nuance if there was no villain. How awesome would that have been? That would have been such a break from Disney tropes that not every film needs a villain. But again, we'll be here all day if I end up talking about that. Hans and Anna AU. She meets him first and pursues him. Check it out. Let me know what you think of my headcanon. It's fine if you hate it. This brings us to our fan recs, and I have two this week from the same person because they sent me 2 emails, and I picked one, and then I saw the heading of the second email, and it had a subheading, and I'm weak. What can I tell you? I'm gonna tell you about these fics now. These recs come from Sierra de Guilin. First is a Prince Sidon and Link fic. And if you weren't there after Zelda Breath of the Wild, you may have missed that this is a pairing that is 100% happening. In the vein of tetrophilia, monster bangers, and Shape of Water lovers, because there's very much some parallels between how people draw those two. We're gonna deal with a Link pairing fic. This one is called It's Just a Body by Puny McGee. 1 chapter, word count 3,987. This is a Link needs self-esteem fic, wherein Link's being a bit down on himself and he's not taking care of himself. He doesn't feel that he's worthy or worth it, or that he needs to be careful or care for his body or his health in any way. And our wonderful aquatic prince is having none of that. He wants Link to see what he is worth, and he will make sure that he understands that he has value. This is just a sweet, bolstering fic, but it also gets into Link's head very well, and establishes why he would feel that way about himself without going too deep into melodrama. It stays in a very realistic vein, which also helps with the comfort aspect, because then you can see how he can work through the advice that the prince gives him. It's a good entry point for those who want to maybe get into issues of self-esteem and those kind of introspective pieces, and maybe aren't sure where to start because they don't want to dive too deep in right away. So if that sounds like you, and also if you're interested in checking out this pairing and seeing how people do it, because some are off-put because of the different speciesness of it, then this is a good entry point to see how people work with it. Entry-level fic. Everyone starts somewhere. The next one takes us to the My Hero Academia fandom, and is entirely here because the subheading in this email was Dad Might, and you know how weak I am for dad fics. This fic is called A Father to Me by the Angel of Fate. 1 chapter, word count 3,146. This is also a pairing fic where All Might is dating Midoriya's mom, so You have that if you're into that pairing, which is also a little tiny sub pairing in the fandom that not many people are aware of, but has a decent dedicated fan base, and actually the works in it are very, very sweet for the most part. This fic deals with the idea that the two are dating and it's been going on for a while, when all of a sudden Deku's dad comes back into the equation and he is not happy about what's going on. So who exactly is Deku gonna choose? Well, we all know, but it's still quite a journey getting there. This is a very sweet fic about surrogate fatherhood and examining the bond that we know that these two have. It's the crux of a lot of what people like about the show. It's just a very sweet mentorship, and some people like to acknowledge how much of a paternal relationship it is and pull that aspect out more. And fics like this do just that. You don't love me! If you need just cheer and softness, a fic like this is probably for you. There's a lot going on in the My Hero Academia fandom. There's a lot of madness, there's a lot of sweetness, there's a lot of toxicity, there's a lot of everything. So, announcement time. That was a drum roll. So for those who have been around, you know that we've been playing through Red Embrace, which is a lot of fun. It's a really good game in my opinion. Just the vampires and their personalities, and I felt like there was a lot there, and I have to say this game actually inspired me to write my first fic in 12 years. I can't wreck it to you yet because I was locked out of my AO3 account because it's been too long and I forgot the email and the password and all of that stuff. Years. 84 years. So I made a new one, but when I do put it up, I will wreck it to you guys. And I wanted to thank you because doing this series and working on all the videos and stuff like that, it really gave me confidence to post my work. I asked you on Twitter and you seemed really enthusiastic about it, and I wanted to thank you for that too. Basically, this is just a thanks for being such a wonderful community of people to come and share and spend time with. It's nice in fandom to have that, and I appreciate it, and I hope that you feel that way about this space too. Also, special thanks to Jimbles Make Art and Stuff, who drew some fan art from our playthrough, wherein the chat is really great in these playthroughs. I go through after and actually just read through everything that the chat says because they come up with the best headcanons and the best ideas. And one of those things is that one of the consistent points of each timeline is these two people who come into the diner where most of the action of the game takes place, and they are a drunk fry guy and a high milkshake guy, and they sit there, and now there's a headcanon that they are in love and that they have witnessed all of the events of the game, and Jimbles actually drew fan art of these two, and I think that that is amazing. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm sharing it with the world because the world needs to know about the true OTP of this game. Also, I love fan art. Getting fan art and seeing fan art, it just makes me so happy. I love fan art. What can I say? If I could draw, I would draw myself next to Isaac because we're Scar Bros, but I can't. So that's it for this week. Next week, get ready for crossover week, and that's where the long fics are going to be because crossovers get intense. There's some intensity happening in a crossover week. Also, we're going to have an interview with a zine, so look forward to all of that. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend it discussing fics with me. I always appreciate it, and please keep leaving your recs down below. I love them. I read as many as I can, and I save them so the ones I can't read now, I read later. There are, as always, more videos coming soon, so if you haven't already, please do subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. I will see you all again when I can, and until then, let's get to the outro. Bye-bye. This has been Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Special thanks to all of my patrons, names on the side, for helping to make these videos possible. There are, as always, more videos coming soon, so until then, stay tuned, for there are as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky.